called to order. I would like to ac- I would like to acknowledge the presence of Senators Tolentino and Senator Marcos, who are members of the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs. This morning, we will be discussing House Bill number 6123 and Senate Bill number 1531, authored by Senator Revilla. At this point, may I please request the committee secretariat to recognize the guests and resource persons into this hearing.
Thank you very much, sir. We would like to recognize the presence of the following guests, either virtually or physically present. With the Department of Justice, sir, it is represented by the Legal Division, Attorney Dave Florence Fatalia. With the Philippine National Police, sir, they are physically present. We would like to recognize the presence of the Chief PNP, Police General Leonardo B. Carlos. Welcome, sir. Police Major General Omega Jaire D. Fidel. Morning, sir. Police Brigadier General Valeriano T. De Leon. Morning, sir. And Police Colonel Noli Asuncion. Morning, sir. With us also virtually, the President of the Association of Firearms and Ammunition Dealers of the Philippines, Mr. Hagen J. Topacio, together with the legal counsel, Attorney Conrad Tolentino. The Firearms and Ammunition Manufacturers Association of the Philippines, President is here, Ms. Gina Marie Angangco. The Philippine Shooters and Match Officers Confederation Incorporated is represented by Mr. Joselito Nuevo, its Executive Director. The Society of Practical and Defensive Shooters is represented by Mr. Casimiro Villarosa. And the National Range Officers Institute of the Philippines is represented by Attorney Ray Francisco. For the record, sir, we also have invited Mr. Edwin B. Lim, the President of the Philippine Practical Shooting Association. Probably he'll be coming later. We have also invited the Global Defense Shooters Association, Mr. Ted Dingo. We have also invited Attorney Rodrigo Moreno, who has previously confirmed his virtual attendance, and probably he'll be coming later. We have also invited the President of Progan Philippines, Attorney Ernesto Tabuhara. He texted me and said that he'll be catching up later, sir. We have also invited the President of the Philippine Institute of Firearms Instructors Associations, Mr. Ernie Claudio, but he might not be probably attending, sir, due to prior commitment. That's all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Committee Secretary. Meron tayong DOJ? Meron? Okay. NBI? Wala. Again, magandang araw muli sa ating lahat. Last January 1, 2021, a 12-year-old girl from Lanao del Norte died on New Year's Day after being hit by a stray bullet while playing outside her home past midnight. Also, another 2 victims of stray bullets were reported that day. A 6-year-old from Santa Catalina, Negros Occidental, and a male victim from Dagupan City. Further, on the same day, a policewoman from Malabon was arrested for indiscriminate firing. Ilan lamang ito sa mga insidente ng stray bullets sa bansa. Marami ng bata at matatanda ang naging biktima ng mga irresponsableng taong umaabuso sa kanilang pagmamay-ari ng baril. Gun ownership and possession is in our jurisdiction is not a right but a mere privilege. While owning a gun gives you the power to protect yourself from any harm or aggression. This carries with it huge and serious responsibility. In 2013, Republic Act 10591 or the Comprehensive Firearms and Ammunition Regulation Act was passed by Congress in order to regulate the ownership and possession of all kinds of firearms and ammunition. This is consistent with the provisions provided under the revised Penal Code, penalizing the illegal discharge of firearms and acts constituting alarms and scandals, and the policy of the state to maintain peace and order and protect the people from all kinds of violence. Despite these laws, many are still not deterred in using their guns aimlessly and arbitrarily. As such, there is a need to introduce a greater restraint to prevent the occurrence of these crimes. Today, as we take steps to strengthen our existing gun laws by introducing stiffer penalties, we intend to implement implement this to discourage anyone to randomly and arbitrarily use their firearms. Napapanahon ang pagtalakay natin ng mga panukalang batas na ito sa ating agenda dahil ilang araw na lamang ay sasalubungin na naman natin ang bagong taon at pagpasa ng sa pagpasa ng panukalang ito, mas matatakot na ang mga nag-iisip gumamit ng kanilang mga baril ngayong bagong taon na may kakaharapin silang mas mabigat na parusa sa kanilang paglabag. I hope that these measures will save many innocent lives. As a gun safety advocate, I would like to encourage everyone to support this measure, to inculcate and educate the public to be a responsible gun owner. Guns should be used to protect and save lives, not harm innocent citizens. At this juncture, I would like to hear your thoughts on these proposed measures. But before that, I would like to give the floor to my colleague, the gentleman from Cavite, Senator Francis Tolentino, to give his opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would have joined you there, but I have to go to another meeting. First time I've been absent in your committee hearing. I am in full support of this measure, but there are some nuances that have to be explained first, Mr. Chairman, and probably the personalities.
Excuse me, Sintol, excuse
Yeah.
me. Mukhang mahina ang dating mo dito. Can you up the volume ng yung speaker dyan or yung microphone mo?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Naka-full na dito sa atin. Naka-full na.
Yes, naririnig niyo po, Mr. Chairman.
Yan.
Mr. Chairman.
Mahina talaga, Tol. Mahina, Tol.
I was not given a link, Mr. Chairman. I'm just using my cell phone. Perhaps the committee can provide me a link, Mr. Chairman.
Cellphone lang gamit mo?
Opo, hindi ako binigyan ng link. I'm sorry sa committee, hindi ako binigyan ng link.
Okay.
So, dapat i-email po sa akin para magamit ko yung laptop. Well, anyway, if they can provide me a link, I can make a statement later on, Mr. Chairman.
Meron ka bang Senator Tolentino, do you have earpiece para madirekta daw dito sa amin yung sinasabi mo? Earphone?
Mr. Chairman,
O earphone?
meron po akong laptop pero hindi po ako nabigyan ng link sa laptop kaya mahirap mag-transfer. So I'm using a cell phone. So if I can be given a link, kung pwedeng i-email po sa akin yung link para dito ko po sa laptop ma-open, Mr. Chairman. Mas maliwanag.
Ay, yun na daw yung pinapasukan mo ngayon. Yan na daw ang link.
Opo,
Link
pero
natin.
binigay lang to ng staff ko eh. Wala doon sa hindi naman ako techie, wala dito sa laptop. Sana i-email po sa akin ng staff ninyo ng secretariat, Mr. Chairman.
We will send you again the link para
I can
Para
join.
pasukan mo uli, para marinig ka namin dito. So, sorry talaga. Sorry talaga, Senator Tolentino. Padahan ka namin uli ng link para makapasok ka. Thank you, Senator Tolentino. Can we have 1 minute suspension? Ako mag-request, ako rin mag-grant. Meeting is hereby suspended for 1 minute. Senator Tolentino, Senator Amy Marcos, you have the floor. Andiyan si Senator Amy. So if Senator Amy Tolentino, Amy Marcos is, Senator Amy, are you still around? So from here, let's give the floor to the Chief of the Philippine National Police for his opening statement. You have the floor,
Thank you very much.
General Carlos. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir, Mr. Chair, and to the Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, and to the other members, honorable members of the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, and the Committee on Justice and Human Rights, and to all fellow public servants, other resource persons, physically and virtually present in this public hearing. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat, maupay nga aga, maayong buntag. I am Police General Leonardo Bernardo Carlos, the Chief of the Philippine National Police. First and foremost, allow me to extend our sincere appreciation and gratitude to this honorable committee for inviting the Philippine National Police to this meaningful activity and for giving us the opportunity to contribute to this noble endeavor of the Senate to make timely and necessary legislations for a more secure and safer community for the Filipino people. After perusal of the Senate Bill 1531 and the House Bill 6123, which define the offenses of discharge of firearms and indiscriminate firing of firearms, and providing stiffer penalties, therefore, the Philippine National Police is of the humble view that the same is in line with and consistent with our mandate and virtuous commitment to prevent and control crimes, maintain peace and order, and ensure public safety and security. Your Philippine National Police is positively hopeful that through the provision of a stiffer penalty, the commission of the aforesaid offenses shall be deterred. It is for this foregoing reason that the PNP supports the enactment of Senate Bill 1531 and House Bill 6123. And to share the respective views and inputs in today's public hearing, with me here are the following key officers of the Philippine National Police. My left is the Director for Investigation and Detective Management, Police Major General Jaire Omega Fidel, who has all the records pertaining to crimes, and our Director for Operations, soon to be Major General Valde Leon of the Directorate for Operation. So having said that, Mr. Chair, sir, thank you, and God bless us all, sir.
Thank you, General Carlos. Kaharap kita eh. Titingnan ko yung kwan. Nainggit ako sa 4 stars dyan sa shoulder mo. Para bang gustong ko magsuot uli niyang apat na star na yan eh. I miss the stars. Anyway, thank you for your manifestation of support to this proposed measure. Kumbaga, iniisip ko pag ito'y naging batas na at mayroon pa rin pulis na gumagawa ng indiscriminate firing, wala na talaga, hopeless na talaga yung mga tao na yan. Ano? Parang there's something wrong na talaga sa utak nila pag gagawin pa nila yan. But anyway, thank you for your support at huwag ka munang umalis at may questions ako sa iyo later. At saka si Senator Tolentino, may mga tanong rin sa iyo. So, stand by ka muna. From here, I would like to yield the floor to Senator Tolentino. Okay na kayang linya mo, Senator Tol?
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Wala pa din? Mr. Chairman?
Meron pero medyo mahina. Baka pwede ilapit-lapit mo yung microphone mo, Tol. Oh.
Ayan, can you hear me now? Mr. Chairman, can you hear me now?
Yan, medyo. Yan, okay, malapit.
Can you
Mas
hear me
maganda
now?
pala, malapit yung mukha mo sa microphone.
Mr.
Ayan.
Chairman, I am in full
Eh,
support.
makinis naman yung quotes mo eh. Kaya okay lang malapit sa microphone. Go ahead, Senator Tolentino. You have the
I am in
floor.
full support of the measure, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry I will not be able to finish the committee hearing because I have another appointment. I would have joined you there. Hindi naman ako uma-absent eh. Ngayon lang ako nag-Zoom kaya hindi ako marunong nito. Mr. Chairman, I am in full support of this measure. Meron lang mga katanungan siguro na dapat ma-clarify mamaya, Mr. Chairman. Yung definition of or any device should be clarified. Ito po ay bahagi ng proposal na ilagay po ay or any device. So what should or any device mean? Siguro po malamang-lamang maisama natin yung mga maliliit na drone. Yung maliliit na drone na minsan pwedeng magamit na hindi kanais-nais na bagay. At saka siguro po Mr. Chairman, kung nandyan po sa hearing as a resource person ang representatives ng Department of Justice, Mr. Chairman, dapat po maklarify yung difference ng crime na discharge of firearms under Article 254 of the Revised Penal Code and the indiscriminate firing of firearms under Section 41A of RA 10591. So, mai-clarify po ito ng Department of Justice. Pati po yung tinanong ko mamaya sa mga kaibigan natin sa kapulisan, yung or any device. Pwede bang isama dito yung hindi firearm pero nakakasakit din na hindi sinadya naggawing firearm. Marami hong pwedeng maisip dyan. Nabanggit ko na kanina yung mga maliliit na drone, Mr. Chairman. Having said all of this, I am in full support again of the measure and I congratulate General Carlos for his new stars as well as his new promotion. So best of luck to the new team of the Philippine National Police. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Tolentino. I am very sure the points that you have raised are very crucial in crafting this measure. So I hope our representative from DOJ is taking note about the points raised by Senator Tolentino, and he will be asking same questions later sa ating taga-DOJ. Maraming salamat, Senator Tolentino, for those points. Now we are going to saan yung listahan natin? From here, we would like to acknowledge and yield the floor to Ms. Gina Marie Angkangco. Ma'am, if you have your opening statement.
Good morning, honorable senators and our friends at different stakeholders, especially the Philippine National Police. This morning, I attended the Philippine National Police National Summit ongoing right now at the Multipurpose Hall in Camp Crame. And the speaker from the NEDA mentioned peace and security as one of the 4 pillars to develop our economy. So as the Firearms and Ammunition Manufacturers Association of Philippines, we have no objections to the stiffer penalties on indiscriminate firing because we all support the need to live in a peaceful society where we feel secure in our own environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your kind support to this proposed measure. Salamat po. Attorney Ray Francisco, the legal officer of the NROI. Sir, you have the floor.
Good morning, sirs. Chairman De La Rosa, one of our top shooters, Senator Tolentino and Senator Marcos, Chief PNP Leonardo Carlos, and our good friend General Val de Leon, and our friends in the industry. Good morning po. I am the legal counsel of the Philippine Practical Shooting Association. And I was also the founding president of ProGun. We are in total support of this bill, sir. Although I would like to raise some clarifications later. As an opening statement, we fully support this measure, and we would be very glad to help you in all other measures that would help promote safety insofar as the use of firearms is concerned. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Attorney Ray Francisco. Saan ba putok natin ngayong coming weekend? Meron ba? Wala.
Madami, sir.
May schedule
Madami.
kayo? Marami?
Madami, sir. Oh, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Attorney Ray. Salamat. From here, I would like to give the floor to my very good friend, si Mr. Hagin Topacio, the President, Association of Firearms and Ammunition Dealers of the Philippines, AFAD. You have the floor, Hagen. You're muted ata. Hagen, you're muted.
Hear me now?
Yan. Okay na, okay na.
Sorry, Honorable Chair.
Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and the honorable members of the committee. AFAD has prepared a position paper on the proposed laws. May I be given permission to read it?
Yes, please.
Thank you for Honorable Chair and distinguished members of the committee. Thank you for inviting our position with regards to the above subject. As advocates for the responsible ownership and use of firearms, the members of the Association of Firearms and Ammunition Dealers of the Philippines welcome all legislation that seek to curtail the reckless usage of firearms. Amendment to Article 254 of the Revised Penal Code, consistent with the foregoing principle of AFAD, we agree with the proposed escalation of the penalty of the crime of discharge of firearms. However, we believe that the use of words can be in the definition of the term device, and the legislative proposals may lead to a situation where any object, neutral by itself, can be considered a device, so long as it can eventually be functionally used as a firearm or be a component of another object that can be functionally used as a firearm. To counteract this situation, we respectfully recommend that the definition of the term device be limited to objects that are already functionally used as a firearm at the time of the perpetration of the offense for purpose of Article 254 of the Revised Penal Code. Further, we observe that the definition of term device is included in the body of the amending law, but not in the actual text of the proposed amendments to Article 254 of the Revised Penal Code and Section 41A of Republic Act 10591 themselves. We respectfully suggest that to avoid possible confusion, the definition of the term device also be incorporated in the law itself, accompanying the limitation that the definition only applies to the offenses in provisions sought to be amended. Taking the foregoing proposals together, we respectfully submit that Article 245 of the Revised Penal Code should include the modifications, which would underscore below. If the person responsible for the discharge of firearm is discharge of firearms, any person who shall shoot at another person with any firearm or any device shall suffer the penalty of prison correctional in its maximum period. if the person responsible for the discharge of firearm is a member of the Philippine National Police, Armed Forces of the Philippines, or any law enforcement agency authorized by law to bear arms, the penalty of 1 degree higher than that provided in the preceding paragraph shall be imposed. For the purpose of this article, the term device refers to anything that may not have been designed as a firearm, but has been functionally adapted and used as a firearm at the time of the offense. Amendment to Article to Republic Act 10591, aside from recommending the insertion of the definition of device in the body of the law itself, we support the aim of the proposed amendments inasmuch as it instills discipline in the use of firearms. We also observe that Section 41A of Republic Act number 10591 seeks to cover two situations as follows. First, shooting or discharging a firearm or device without lawful authority, and second, shooting or discharging in a random, aimless, purposeless, or indiscriminate manner. We understand and commend the intent to amend the law to protect innocent victims from indiscriminate firing. However, we submit that the first situation seems overboard and potentially problematic, as it subjects any discharge of a legitimate and responsible firearm owner with the burden of providing lawful authority in the absence of clear definition of lawful authority. Actions that a gun owner would normally be able to do, such as recreational shooting in a firing range, may fall under the definition of discharge without lawful authority. The uncertainty is more apparent since lawful authority can give the impression that it only applies to law enforcement, thereby excluding private individuals from claiming lawful authority, which does not appear to include lawful self-defense. AFAD subscribes to the view that responsible gun owners obtain guns as a means of self-defense or recreation, and never for aggression. Normally, self-defense is a circumstance that must be proven by accused. However, Republic Act 10591 is a such special penal law which penalizes crimes that are mala prohibitum, that is, in the acts themselves without any examination of intent, constitute a crime. Therefore, in the interest of the protection of the responsible gun owner, the discharge of firearm in self-defense must be excluded from the scope of the proposed crime. Further, the proposed Section 41A of Republic Act 10591 also does not consider circumstances such as accidental discharge, where a person may not have the intention of discharging the firearm in the first place. Along with the discharge of a firearm in self-defense, we also submit that accidental discharge should also be excluded from the scope of the proposed crime. Given the circumstances, the acts that constitute a crime must be clearly defined. In this regard, discharging a firearm by accident or for recreational and lawful purposes, including self-defense, must be carved out from the scope of the offense. Thus, we respectfully submit that Section 41A of the Republic Act 10591, as modified through underscoring, address these concerns.
So are you done again?
We hope that the Honorable Committee will consider our position on the legislative proposals. Again, thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Chair. Thank you po. I have submitted this also to the email of the committee, Mr. Chair, for your reference.
Okay, thank you. This committee secretariat is nodding his head. Siguro natanggap mo na ito? They are very, very important yung mga pinagsasabi mo na mga puntos. Please, sabi niya, hindi pa daw niya natanggap. Baka pwede mong padala uli.
I will send it again right now, Mr. Chair.
Sige,
Yes po.
thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. Chair.
Hagen Topacio,
Thank you.
for those very valuable inputs. Thank you. From here, may I yield the floor to Attorney Dave Florence Patalia of the Legal Division, the Department of...
914.
Huh?
914.
Sorry, natanggap na pala yung position paper mo, Hagen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Department of Justice, Attorney Dave Lawrence Patalia, representing Secretary Minardo Guevara. You have the floor,
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair.
Attorney Patalia.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Please, you have the floor.
So we pose no legal objection to the proposed measures, Your Honor. But we have minor comments, similar to the comments previously. We have comments as to the use of the term device. We suggest that it be limited to the device or objects that were actually used as a firearm. And we also have a concern also as to the placement of the definition of the term device. We also suggest that it be placed in the body of the amendments itself instead of the amending law only. And we also have a few more minor comments, Mr. Chair, but we will just send we already have a position paper on this matter, and I will ask the office to send the signed copy. Now, Mr. Chair, as to the concern of Senator Tolentino, as it's also part of our comment, as now written, we understand that, as we understand it, Article 254 punishes the act of shooting a firearm or any device at a person, which does not constitute parricide, murder, homicide, or any other crime with a higher penalty. Meanwhile, the proposed Section 41-A intends to punish the act of the actual purposeless discharge or indiscriminate firing of firearm or any device. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Attorney Florence Fatalia. Thank you very much. Actually, as a response to your comment, yung definition of term ng device is already included in the body of this bill, both in the HOR version and at dito sa Senate version. Kasama na po doon. From the representatives of the PNP, aside from the chief, you have anything more to say? Yung physically present kayo dito? Okay na kayo? Thank you, thank you. Next is how about Mr. Joselito Nuevo, the Executive Director of PISMOC? Are you still around, sir? Joselito Nuevo? So my technical problem. Mr. Casimiro Villarosa, from the Society of Practical and Defensive Shooters, Spades. Are you still around, sir? You have the floor. Mr. Casimiro Villarosa. May problema internet ngayon. Okay na ito lahat, no? Oh. May problema yung kanilang internet connection. Anybody who wants to have something to say?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Attorney Ray Francisco, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
In defense,
Uh,
we are in full support of this law because we would really like to,
Excuse me. Sino to? Villarosa?
really,
Casey
yeah,
Villarosa?
the connection is
Attorney Ray, is it okay with you kung ipagbigyan mo natin si Casey Villarosa?
of course, sir. Of
Okay,
course,
thank you.
no problem, sir.
Thank you. You're next after Casey Villarosa.
Opo, sir.
Yeah, Casey Villarosa, you have the floor. Go ahead. Continue.
my internet connection is very poor, Mr. Chairman. Yes, sir.
Yeah, tama yun. Huwag ka na lang
Yes, sir.
mag-video para audio na lang pakinggan namin dito para malakas yung dating. Please, you have the floor. Casey.
I'm back, sir.
Yeah, you have the floor. Please go ahead. Casey Villarosa, sir, can you hear me? Nawawala ka. Sorry. So mamaya ka na lang siguro pag ma-restore mo yung linya mo. Let's give the floor to Attorney Ray
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Can you
Okay
hear me
ka na?
now?
Yan. Sige, go ahead. Go ahead, please. Sige.
Mr. Chairman. Anyway, in behalf of the Society of Practical and Defensive Shooters, SPADES, since we have been around since 2013,
Napuputol
yes,
talaga,
Chairman.
Sir Casey
Okay.
Villarosa.
We are in
Napuputol.
total support of this bill since we really want to discourage all of the accidents and all of the necessary shooting that happens. Sir. Yes, Your Honor. Okay. Give the floor to Attorney Francisco.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sir Casey Villarosa. Thank you for narinig namin yung sinabi mo, although paputol-putol, but nakuha namin yung thought ng sinasabi mo. Maraming salamat po sa support mo dito sa proposed measure na ito. Let's give the floor to Attorney
Mr. Chairman,
Ray
can you hear
Francisco.
me now?
Yeah, go ahead. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, not Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
Thank you,
sir.
thank you.
Kasi sa ibang meeting ayaw tawagan Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman. Okay, sir. I just
Thank
would
you, Mr.
like
Chairman.
I just would like to make reference to page 5, sir, of the bill, more particularly in line number 6. If I may read the paragraph, in addition to the penalties imposed herein, any firearm license or permit issued in favor of the offender shall be summarily cancelled. I'd like to comment on the two words firearms license, sir. There are two main documents regarding firearms. I think the PNP will agree with me that you have first the license to own and possess a firearm, which is commonly called as the LTO, and the firearm registration itself. It might pose a confusion if we will retain firearms license because it does not refer either to the LTOP or the firearm registration. But the intent of the law is to cancel the license to own of the gun owner, and the firearm registration of that particular firearm that was used or other firearms. So I propose, sir, if, of course, this depends on the best discretion of the committee, if we can be more definitive, meaning to say, instead of firearms license, it should be the license to own and possess firearm and the firearm registration or permit. There is another document, of course, which allows us to bring our firearm outside of the residence, but that's another matter, no? Because once the LTOP and the firearm registration is cancelled, it necessarily follows that you will not be able to get a permit to carry outside of your residence. So if I may suggest, of course, subject to the discretion of the committee, if we can be more definitive in the firearm license. So instead of firearm license, license to own and possess the firearm, and the firearm registration or permit be cancelled. That's all, sir. Just to be more definitive, sir. Maraming salamat po,
Yes,
sir.
definitely. This committee is in agreement with you as far as your the points that you have raised. Tama po yun. So maraming salamat for that observation. and where the Secretariat is taking note of your position. And I'm sure this committee will also adapt that position of yours. Thank you, Attorney Francisco. Baka may iba ka pa nakita dyan na kwan, paki-share na rin.
Opo,
Para,
yung
ano
last
pa?
line, yung last line po, yun na rin po, line number 9, instead of firearm license, lagay na rin po yung license to own and possess firearm and the firearm registration po. Para lang ma-define na mabuti ano yung ka-cancel po.
Thank you, thank you. Secretariat is noting of those observation. We agree with you. Tama yun.
Maraming
Any
salamat po, sir.
Thank you, Attorney Ray Francisco. Thank you very much. Any more? Sino pang merong gustong sasabihin? Okay na tayo? Okay na tayo. Oh, sorry. I forgot about the questions prepared for the PNP. Yeah, meron palang tanong dito from the PNP. Do we have the latest data on the number of illegal discharge of firearm and indiscriminate firing cases for the last 5 years? Kung wala kayong ready available data ngayon, please submit to this committee, ha?
We will submit, Your Honor, sir.
Okay, ito pa broken down as follows. How many were committed by civilians? Letter B, how many were committed by law enforcers? Letter C, how many law enforcers have been dismissed from the service due to this case for violation of illegal discharge of firearms? Again, another question for the PNP. Last December 2019, PNP released a statement aiming for a zero incident count for cases of indiscriminate firing. Looking at the past news, just for the current year, there are still cases of indiscriminate firing committed by our law enforcers. What are the actions taken by the PNP leadership in order to aim for a zero incident of indiscriminate firing within its rank? If you have ready answers, you can give
Yes,
it
sir.
right away.
The Philippine National Police leadership will be very strict in the implementation of our policy on non-firing, sir, especially, sir, during the season. And if our personnel violated this, sir, we will be very strict and make them answer for the wrongdoings immediately. That's why, sir, we follow the practice. We will follow the practice that you have started of in the season, the times that we see that these incidents do happen. We will have more policemen on the street, just like what you did when you were the chief PNP, sir. We distribute them down the police station, so there will be more people, even from the national headquarters, that will help us in making sure that our policemen in the communities are with us in maintaining that no one, not just from the law enforcement side, but from the community, to do this illegal act. Just like what we did in your time, sir. Majority of our policemen were sent to the police station, not in the headquarters. We just maintained a few that will man our offices, and they are reporting to the police station. This brings the number of our policemen, a bigger number of our policemen on the street. That's one thing that we plan to do during the season, sir. Send them to their provinces or their communities, but they will be performing their duties as police officer, hitting two birds in one stone. They are with their families, but at the same time, they are serving that community, not just the headquarters, the regional headquarters. That's a very good practice of, and making sure that our policemen are adhering to the policy of not indiscriminate firing or firing their firearms during revelry. We do have our records. We will submit. these records pertaining to indiscriminate firing and illegal discharge of firearms, sir.
Yes, I think it was year 2017 wherein we achieved zero firearm-related incidents, injury at saka injury and death. Zero tayo noong 2017. Napakaganda po yun. Dapat i-institutionalize nyo yung practice na yun. Plus, with this proposed measure, mas lalong matatakot yung mga gun holders gumawa ng indiscriminate firing. So, I suggest i-continue nyo yun dahil that was really an amazing feat na 2017 na zero tayo. Zero injuries, zero death, at zero indiscriminate firing incident. So, gawin nyo ulit yun. So, maraming salamat. Meron pang additional question dito. Is the one strike policy wherein the police commanders and chiefs of police wherein the violator will be immediately relieved from their positions once their personnel are caught involved in indiscriminate firing. Parang yung ating policy on once yung command responsibility, kahit na kung mayroong tauhan mo na nag-commit nito, ay talagang tatamaan ng commander. Naging effective ba yun?
Yes, sir. We will implement this. The immediate supervisor of the violator will also be relieved. So, for example, sir, if a particular police officer violated or did a discriminate firing or they did illegally discharged firearms, he has an immediate supervisor that will also be relieved because he did not take his role as a big brother or a big sister to our policeman. Now, if the senior officer, for example, the chief of police is the one that committed the violation, the provincial director we will make him responsible.
Yeah, I think natin para mas maganda. Anyway, this is beyond the measure, no? And napag-discuss naman natin dito ngayon. These are purely administrative matters, di ba? Siguro mas maganda isang pulis nagpaputok, no? Isang pulis nagpaputok. Ang tatamaan dito is dalawa. Yung kanyang immediate supervisor at saka yung commander ng area kung saan siya nagpaputok. Mas maganda yun, dalawang tatamaan. Dahil alam niyo bakit? Kasi isang pulis taga-SRPO. Taga-SRPO siya, ha? Pagbakasyon niya nung Pasko, umuwi siya sa Tarlac. Taga-Tarlac siya eh. Doon siya nag-celebrate ng Christmas. Doon siya nagpaputok sa Tarlac. So dapat dalawang tatamaan. Yung kanyang immediate supervisor dito sa SRPO for failure to remind this cop about indiscriminate firing, and yung area commander doon, yung chief of police nung municipality kung saan siya nagpaputok. Dahil ibig sabihin, hindi sila nagpapatrolya. Yung chief of police, hindi sila nag-implement ng yung policy natin na maximum deployment. Bakit may nagpaputok noon? Di ba? Parang ganun. Pero kung nahuli nila, ibang usapan naman yon, di ba? Pag nagpaputok, tapos nahuli nila, nahuli nung area commander, then may ibang usapan yon. Pero pag hindi nahuli, ibig sabihin, pabaya sila. Parang gano'n na administrative policies natin.
Yes, sir. That can be done. They can be immediately be relieved. And in the last time, sir, if I remember it right, normally, sir, where the area, the incident transpired, we give them a 24-hour deadline to immediately arrest the violator. If they do not arrest the violator, then we can also relieve them, sir.
Yeah, that's very good. I think, anyway, those are all administrative matters, no? Within the PNP. So balik tayo dito sa proposed measure to DOJ. Andyan pa yung ating DOJ representative, si Attorney.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Attorney Patalya. May tanong dito yung committee about the proposed bill. The proposed bill contain a mandatory provision for two different laws revised penal code on discharge of firearms, and new provision for R 18591. However, looking at both provisions, it seems that a single act will be punishable by two laws. For the record of this committee, can you discuss on the legal implications of punishing a single criminal act by a special criminal law and the revised penal code?
Well-
Can you comment on this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the way we look at it right now, the two acts are two different. Well, the punishable acts are two different things. The one is shooting the firearm at a person, and the other one is the indiscriminate firing. So, uh, I don't see, Your Honor, the issue right now. The one act will be punished by two laws.
Double jeopardy? Hindi naman siguro, no?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Chair.
Applicable itong tulos on one single act. Kaya this committee is asking DOJ kung anong tingin nyo dito.
Again, Mr. Chairman, the Article 254 will punish the act of shooting the person, a firearm at a person, while the proposed measure to proposed section 41A is only for the indiscriminate firing. So, Mr. Chair, if the person, for example, shoots the firearm at a person, although in an indiscriminate manner, Article 254 should apply and not section 41-A. That's right. That's how I look at it, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Salamat. Salamat. So we are taking note of that. Another question from for DOJ.
If I may, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
go ahead. Please continue.
Although that is our opinion, we also understand that there's a possibility of that confusion, Mr. Chairman. So that's why part of our suggestion was to incorporate the amendments into only either the revised penal code or the Republic Act 10591, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Ito yung finid sa akin ng aking legal is yung mala insi, punishable with the revised penal code, at saka yung mala prohibitum by special law. Pasensya ka na ha, this chairman is not a lawyer. Kaya we are banking on the DOJ for your inputs. Anyway, maraming salamat at kung meron ka bang further comments on that, further study na gagawin tungkol dito, please provide this committee, Attorney Fatalia.
Yes, Mr.
Maraming
Chairman.
salamat. Ha? Thank you, thank you. Si Attorney Kwan, Ray Francisco, you have comment on that? We would like to hear your comment.
Offhand, sir, I'm in consonance with the position of the DOJ, but of course, since this is a gray matter, I think we should spend more time trying to decipher these two laws and how we can reconcile it to give purpose to this Senate bill, sir. So offhand, although I am in consonance with the opinion of the DOJ, I think it would be better to give us more time to study this, sir.
Tama. Thank you, Attorney Ray. Siguro sa ating technical working group, kung kaya mo mag-attend, sumali ka rin siguro kung ibitahan ka namin.
Opo, sir.
Kasi aside from being a lawyer, you are also a shooter. Alam mo yung marami kang alam tungkol dito. Your inputs will be very valuable. Imbitahan ka namin ha, Attorney Ray, if you have time.
Opo, sir. Anytime, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Francisco. Any more who wants to...
Sir?
Si Attorney Colonel Asuncion, the
Yes, sir.
Chief of EEMD, FEO of the PNP.
Yes,
Please,
sir.
you have the floor.
With the permission of our, sir, our chief PNP, uh, and from the standpoint of non-lawyer, sir, we understood, sir, na yung ang inaano natin dito is we are punishing the act. So, for the purpose of, for the quest of steeper penalty, may we consider yung instrument being used yung instrument being used doon sa ginamit niya sa indiscriminate firing, such that iba kasi yung effect ng small arm, iba rin yung effect nung possibly yung light weapons. Kasi sir, pag indiscriminate tayo ng light weapons, so mas chance na mas marami ang ma-harm. So ang suggestion ko, sir, is that there should be steeper penalty or perhaps one degree higher for those person who will be using light weapon as compared to small arm. And also when we talk of the instrument, iba rin ang penalty when it comes to licensed and unlicensed firearm. So, yun lang po, sir. Thank you po.
Thank you. Magandang input po 'yun. You are taking note of your input. Iba naman talaga ang effect ng, sabihin mo, pareho lang ang penalty ng magpaputok ng isang security guard, nagpaputok ng caliber 38 ng New Year. Isang round lang ng 38, bang! Indiscriminate firing. Tapos kumpara mo sa isang army doon sa detachment, may hawak na isang M60 machine gun, nagpaputok na isang link. Brrrr! So, mas mabigat, mas malaking tsansa na may maraming natamaan doon, maraming bala na pinutok. But still, parehong indiscriminate firing. So, siguro, i-consider natin yan, yung graduated or paano ba yun? Graduated pagbigay ng weight doon sa magiging punishment. Tony Ray, may masasabi ka?
Tama yun, sir. Kailangan po natin i-distinguish yung licensed and unlicensed. Tama po yung suggestion ninyo. Graduated rin po yung penalty, sir. So, makikita naman natin ang diferensya doon sa mga walang lisensya at may lisensya. So, tama po yung observation ni Sir Asuncion and your suggestion that we have a graduated scale of penalty, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Si Attorney Dave Tafalia. Any comment?
I agree with the suggestion, Mr. Chairman. But of course, the wordings should be subject to the technical definition of the type of the firearm.
Okay, thank you. Maraming salamat. So, from here, Attorney, Senator Tol, you still have something to say? Senator Tolentino? Kung wala ka na, meron pa bang gusto magsalita? So, kung wala na, I would like to thank everyone, yung ating physically present dito na mga officers from the PNP, led by the Chief PNP, Police General Carlos, Leonardo Carlos, si Major General Jerry Fidel, si Brigadier General Valeriano de Leon, si Colonel resource person who are joining us online. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Sana pag mag-imbita kami sa inyo, mag-join rin kayo uli. And if you have some more inputs na pwede ninyong maisip after this meeting, we would like to solicit it from you. Kung pwede submit nyo sa aming committee secretariat, if that would be okay with you. So, yun lang. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat for your attendance. Adjourn na tayo. Pasalamatan ko pa si Attorney Dave Patalya. Yung position paper ng DOJ, Attorney Dave Patalya, kung pwede, kung makaya mo may submit today, we will be very happy to receive it. Si Ma'am Gina Marie Angkangko. Ma'am, maraming salamat. Si Hagen Topacio. Salamat sa pag-attend. Si Attorney Ray Francisco. Attorney, salamat ha.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Yeah. Si Mr. Casey Villarosa. Thank you for your attendance.
Thank you, Mr.
So,
Chair. Salamat din po.
salamat. At saka si Attorney Joselito Nuevo ng Pismok. Maraming salamat sa inyo. If there are no more questions, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you.